We're here to talk about perfumery and art.
Or perfumery as art. Maybe.
Yes.
Who knows?
Well, we know.
Stay tuned.
Maybe.
Until next time.
Goodbye.
Doobie-doo, doobie, doobie-doo. We talk about perfume as art all the time. We throw it around like it's singles at a strip club. But, you know, like we don't really ever dive into what exactly we mean perfume is as art. So that's why we're here, to talk about it.
Yeah, and we've got a lot of probably critical opinions of stuff that's surrounding the idea of perfume and art. So is perfume art?
Not always.
Okay, when is perfume art?
Okay, so I ask you the same question, right? So we're going to Wally World, and they've got all the posters back, you know, somewhere. Are those posters art?
It is very tricky. Here's the thing I would say. I'd say you have to take one of two stances on this.
Okay, I'm ready for it. Go. Whoa.
Oh, sorry. So, stance number one that you have to take, you either have to say that it's all art, and it's either good or bad art, and there's a multitude, almost an infinite multitude of variants in between perfect art and absolute trash, and probably something even below those two, about those. No. Or you have to adopt the position that there is some grand metaphysical concept that somehow imbues objects based off of their relationship to very specific individuals who can perceive them as such and enter this metaphysical realm with the qualities or characteristics of art. First and foremost, I'm just going to come out and say my opinion that comes with any form of art that I'm dealing with, which is that I think art is 100% objective, and I think humans are 100%...
Oh, that's in the context... Yeah, I remember now, okay.
Yeah, and I think humans are 100% subjective in the way that... not that we can never speak on things objectively, or that we can never obtain some objective opinion, but I think that we never really know that it's objective. We cannot access the real world. We're stuck A, within language, B, within symbols, and C, within our own bodies, within a very specific space-time
and D,
occupancy. Within
our little pod in the Matrix.
So that being said, a lot of people say that it's subjective. It doesn't matter. And I say, so what you're saying is the greatest work of musical composition is...
Bohemian Rhapsody.
The greatest work of musical composition is of equivalent value to a monkey banging on a pot.
Yeah, that's what it is, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. If you say that everything is subjective, you reduce all of art to simply bullshit that has been tailored to the ears of the masses.
Yeah. So I guess I'm going to be really contradictory here, and I know it, but it's going to be fun. I do not see that all fragrance is art. And I guess it boils down to another topic that will eventually come on one of these is consumerism.
Yeah.
I think for me that's what it boils down to. Like, if they are making fragrance because they know it is going to sell well, I don't necessarily think that is art. Just like, you know, a lot of fashion and clothes that you find in most malls or department stores isn't necessarily fashion, it's just something that they know they can sell.
So then is art simply a philosophical approach to something that maintains some semblance of aesthetic value?
Sure.
Like, the only reason that Andy Warhol is an artist is because he was philosophic about his consumerist production.
I mean, maybe, I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know, because, like, I mean, if you also think about it, like, a lot of, like, classic artists, right? The reason why they painted what they painted is because it was their paycheck. So, but then maybe it's a difference between mass consumers and... See, you know?
And, well, see, here's the thing, though. Time passes. And because people get so disconnected from it, it's a cause of disconnect, and because people are so far distanced from the zeitgeist, the spirit of the times there. You know what I mean? Like, that's why people read the Bible, for instance, too, and they're like, it's a bunch of hogwash. There's fucking people. They believe this shit. Well, yeah, Yeah, of course they did. And people are going to do the same fucking thing to you, dingus, in like 20,000 years, you know? They're going to look back at the scientific opinions that we have now and they're like, what fucking idiots? Like, can't believe this shit. People actually believe that bullshit. I don't believe it, Dad. You're crazy, Grandpa. You know?
Yeah. So I guess, I mean, that's, I don't know, because you know, one of our hobbies is we run around from store to store, and no matter how many times we've smelled things, we smell them again. And we pretty much came to the same conclusion that a lot of the mass market, consumer-driven designer shit is crap.
But I think that's also the case for all forms of art.
No, for sure. But then the question is that actually art? Like, I don't know. I mean, and then, yeah, you're right. I say everything is art, and there's a variety of good to bad, but then I also think art is about intention.
Okay, but here's another thing. If you're speaking in terms of a political figure, right?
Okay.
A political figure.
So, someone who's apolitical. Got it.
No. Someone who is a political figure. So, someone who's a political figure, it's the same thing, right? There's really good political figures who get very, very little attention because they're not out there fucking jerking off as many people as they can in a democratic election, getting in as many fucking people's rocks
Okay,
out.
but here's the thing, but if you've got the other end, is that person truly a political figure, or is it just a skis bag who's in the political realm?
Okay, so, well, here seems to be the thing. We're talking about the same thing. It's just we're asking how language denotes its relationship to reality. And thankfully, I can weasel out of this one because I don't think that language maintains a one-to-one relationship with reality, and hence, poof, problem dissipates. In a cloud of smoke!
Okay, so...
So, that's a huge banana shits.
That's a lot of banana shits right there. So, I guess, I mean, one of the other questions we were talking about, right, is like, what, let's say we're going with this argument now that perfume is art, right? We're going with that argument. At least that's something we can both stand on solid ground with, right?
Yeah.
So, what part of the perfume is art? What is necessarily, what isn't necessary? What makes it the art?
Well, so here's my opinion on the matter. Mm-hmm. And here's one of the more controversial points that I've had with folks in the community. A lot of people say all that matters is the juice. That's it. And they'll say, like if a bottle of Jicky came flying out of the sky and slammed down on the concrete, the art would be the little particles of juice that have dissipated into the air or have dispersed against the cement. That's it. That's what the art was there. And it's still the very same art on the ground, on the concrete, in the middle of the road, as it is in the bottle, brand new, pristine, shining in a little fucking display case inside of, I don't know, Guerlain's boutique.
Okay.
Boutique. I don't know how you say that word.
Boutique.
Booby. Anyway, and the part of the problem with this again is my perception of the way that language articulates the concept of art in the world. Because if you're to say all that matters is the juice, then the question becomes what juice? Because not every batch of a fragrance is going to be the same. The variance from batch A to batch B could even be as minute. Let's say they managed to get the exact same levels of the exact same aromatic chemicals from the exact same locations in the world from the exact same time of production, but all they change is the barrel or the like giant tin container or whatever they hold the container or the juice in a giant container before they disperse it into the tiny bottles. And let's say that's the only change. You've still changed the batch from batch A to batch B. So what is it that defines that quality? Is it simply the fact that it can trick you into presuming that it's the very same substance year after year? That becomes a huge issue for me. Because unlike, say, film, where it's replicated digitally, and because it's a digital replication, it can be an identical copy from A to B, is once put into the bottle, and shipped to the consumer, all the different aspects of the world take its toll on that juice. Light, air, heat, all this shit.
Kitty.
And then it becomes a question of, is your bottle the same as Jim's bottle, for instance?
Mm-hmm.
So the question becomes a lot more tricky when it comes to perfume. So I'm thinking, in my opinion, if you're saying all that matters, you just go in, you blindly smell, you should have the same square bottle that you put all your juices in, and there you should have nothing to do with the marketing campaigns of distributing them in different bottles and using
names or anything.
Or aesthetics or storytelling or anything to sell the bottle except for exactly how it smells. I say baloney. A lot of our perception's based on these things.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm still relatively new to the frag com, and one of the things that when we're scrolling bottles, like that's what draws me in, is what the bottles look like, and I'm just like, I want that bottle.
And it's the same. Look, it's the same thing with film, right?
Yeah.
You don't watch a film because like you just flip through the channel blindly, and you can't look at any actors or anything. You just have to randomly land on a movie and watch it all the way through and be like, that was either good or bad. But I'm glad that I had nothing other than just watching the pure movie experience, because that's all the art is. That's a pretty retarded way of going about consuming art.
Okay, so I guess like we've talked about like Killian or Lumiere Noir or some of the other like bottles that we drool over, right? Or, you know, something that tells a story that goes with the juice. Like, if they've got a bottle that has nothing to do with the juice, it's just a bottle. I mean, at that point, does the bottle really matter? And that's what I'm saying. I think a lot of it is like, you know.
I'd say so. I'd say yes.
Even when it is a crap bottle.
Yeah. I'd say because that's...
What's the worst bottle we have? I can't even think of one.
Cuba Prestige, for sure.
Oh, yes!
And yeah, that is an approach to the art. So they're all strategies. Like, even these companies that have the exact same bottle don't change the color of the juice, don't change anything about it, and they'll just name it like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever. That is a aesthetic approach to an art form. And regardless of the fact that it has a similar consistency throughout, that's a narrative, and that is a conceptual aesthetic approach to the art that you are taking in, regardless of if you're aware of it, you're taking it in when you're consuming that art piece.
Okay, I see what you're saying. But I think, like, we pretty much stand on the same page. The name matters, for sure. The bottle matters. I mean, there was some really beautiful perfume out there that probably smelled like crap, but the story is great. I mean, and not even necessarily that. I mean, we love zoologists, we talk about it all the time, but the storytelling and the bottles and the names and just all of it, I mean, that, like, look at our Bat review. We didn't necessarily enjoy Bat, but we rated it as a beautiful form of art.
And here's another thing. Alexandra J's Le Royale. Love the bottle to pieces. 10 out of 10. Think it's a masterpiece bottle. The juice is so-so. It's not really important to me. But I think that boosts it into a good piece of art rather than a so-so piece of art because
of the bottle.
And then it takes a decent quality juice and packages it in this way that really just makes it more stunning. I mean, a lot of perception or a lot of fragrance is built on perception, and a lot of perception is heavily influenced by these other things, so you can't just dismiss it. If you're reviewing a piece of art, I think it's important to take all these into mind because they're things that are all affecting and infecting the way that you view the art form.
Mm-hmm. So I guess, like, in short, we pretty much say that perfume is art. To what extent all perfume is art is still up for debate a little bit.
Talk about it in the comments.
That too.
Say things.
But we don't think it's just the juice. There's so much more to the art form than just the juice, and especially, you know, we've always talked about potentially wanting to dabble in making our own perfume for giggles. And the one thing we always get caught up in is the name of our house, the name of the fragrances, you know, what story we want to tell, what we want the bottles to look like. And I feel if you just look at the juice, all of that goes missed. And then what is that? Do you have an art of perfume bottles? I mean, the bottles on their own, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's a total package.
It has to be. You can't necessarily... The sum of its parts is...
greater than the whole. Or the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Because, I mean, it would be the same thing. It'd be so silly to just collect the empty bottles of perfume and say, that's the art form. No.
What about if I just collect the names? If I just have like little name tags, little plaques?
No.
You sure?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Word to your mother.